Map number 2 of this best of 3 in front of us. Overgrowth, and it's some PvP. Spawning in the lower left hand position, we have the orange Protoss player. Representing Team PK, GunGFuBanDa. And his opponent, to the top right, representing Fnatic. 1-0 up in this best of 3, a map away from the qualification spot. We have Harstem. Now, this is where things start getting very exciting. Already qualified is Dignitas's Tefl in the upper bracket. He advanced over Lambo King. Still waiting on the results of Soul, Morrow, Minimath, Devil, and of course this series to find out where the other 3 spots go. There's also going to be the 5th, 6th match played today, for anyone wondering, and that is so that there are 2 backups in case anyone has to unfortunately drop out of Challenger League if they're unable to attend, for example. So we do have those matches to come as well. Going to be keeping an eye on those. Anyway, in terms of openings, both players just grabbing their gateways down in their own map bases, so no sign of any proxies or anything like that. It is possible to go proxy on this map, although while there's a fair number of places to hide them and it can be done, the rush distance isn't that small. It takes a little while to get across, but it's something you've got to be a little bit aware of. Otherwise, actually yeah, Harstem really checking around. He's making sure I get no proxies, anything like that. Good, good. Meanwhile, double gases on both sides, and just as in that first map, we're going to be keeping a close eye on how many gas, or how many probes are placed in gas. Harstem's sitting with 4, whereas GunGFu should be going up to 6. He's currently on 5, but 5 is a really odd number. It is not a really odd number, it is just an odd number. Not even. But anyway, 5 isn't actually too normal. You usually see 4 or 6, one or the other. Harstem also sitting on 5, and my brain is broken. They should be pulling them, going up to 6, but neither player rushing up to those 6 gases, so not super fast tech. Of course, Harstem got the Stargate down exceptionally quickly in that first map. He's gone back up to 6 probes in gas. Still only seeing 2 on this right gas, though, for GunGFu. So he's going to have slightly less gas income than Harstem by just like a really little amount, but both players now going up to 6. Chrono Boost coming down on some more probes. Hopefully adjusts this rally, otherwise a minuscule amount of mining time will get kind of knocked off. And yeah, nothing too crazy as of yet. Both players just getting a Stalker down. That's going to give them a nice defensive position. They're going to be able to deny scouts very easily, as probes won't be able to get through and do anything. Harstem now sneaking off back with a sneaky probe. Both players going for those Twilight Councils. Blink, a possibility. Dark Templar, also a possibility. And they're both within a second of each other in terms of that Twilight Council. Likewise, GunGFuBanDa deciding that this bottom right and top left position really are the best places to hide proxy pylons and any other sneaky shiz you want to get going on. So, always check around here, guys. It's important. Dark Shrine on its way out for Harstem, and Harstem does like his DTs. Meanwhile, over on GunGFu's side, it's going to be Blink yet again. Now, Blink is going to be better 100% if GunGFu gets detection. And it's that simple. If he gets down a robotics facility and has an observer nearby, and Harstem can't do damage with these Dark Templar, he then has to go into some Archons if he wants to utilize that anymore, and he's behind in terms of his blink timing and everything else. But if GunGFu doesn't get the robo, which he's just started, or he sends an observer over the other side of the map and it's not there to grant detection, and there's no sentry at the top of the ramp to force field off, and the DTs get in, they'll wreck face, and then obviously GunGFu's in a bad spot. Just as we saw in the previous game, Harstem is able to start out his natural nexus a little bit earlier. GunGFu though, adding in that pylon, posturing very aggressively, got 3 warp gates, the robo on its way out as well, warping in a fair number of units. Just 1 sentry and 1 stalker defensively. Harstem loses his probe, but he's already got down that pylon. In comes the Dark Templar. The observer is not yet in production. GunGFu though starting it up now, and he's rallied it into his base, so he should be absolutely fine from DTs. There's very little chance that anything will happen. But there is still a little chance, because that DT not moving yet. He's waiting patiently. Quick little check around. Harstem has his own observer here. Probes again transferred just a tad early, so they go running on back to the main. It's actually still more efficient, because obviously this base is oversaturated. And when they get back down, it'll all be fine. So, I hope that sneeze didn't come out on camera. I hit my mute button as fast as I could, but it may still go through. My mute button is sensitive, and I hope it did work and do its job. But anyway, Forge coming down now for GunGFu. The DT from Harstem is actually just chilling around here. This DT is a lover, not a fighter. He wants to just wait it back. He's like, I'm invisible. How will my true love ever find me if they can't see me? Needs to find an observer just to come and reveal him. And an observer and a DT would be such a lovely couple. Kind of. They could never touch though, because DTs can't fly and observers can't land. That'd be a shame. Anyway, I'm going off topic now. Gateway also coming through here. We got War Prism going for a little DT drop into the main base. Where is the observer? Where is the observer? It's with the army at the front, keeping a close eye. Of course, the Dark Shrine was scouted, so there should be plenty of time for Harstem. Well, very difficult for Harstem to get anything done. Harstem now coming in. Cannon is on its way down, but a couple of probes are going to die. And of course, thanks to the lovely invention that is, of course, a War Prism, the Dark Templar can just get picked up and hightail it out there. Now the Dark Templar coming in to the natural base, getting a couple more kills, and this is where Harstem really excels with his DT usage. He has a fantastic job of this multi-prong attacking, picking up all these different bases. Nice pick-off of the Warp Prism, but loses a pylon as well. These Stalkers actually taking quite a bit of damage because there's no Observer. Where is that Observer? What are you doing, Observer? Come back here. Good. GunGFu, can I be holding that off? Overall, Harstem doing a nice bit of work here. Killing off just over double the resources that he's lost himself. Worker count also in Harstem's favour, 49 to 32. And in terms of an economic standpoint, if we take a look at the gas, that is a monumental difference. Drones were pulled out of gas early on. But it's really important that Harstem is actually mining so much more gas, even for this small period of time. And even after that, there's no third and fourth gas down at all for GunGFu yet. So this is at least a couple of minutes that Harstem has been sitting with over double the gas income of his opponent. Because double the gas income is fantastic. As I mentioned in the first map, you've got to be aware that a lot of late game Protoss units, the Colossi, the Tempest, the Archons, they're all very gas intensive. So getting that gas banked up and getting a decent amount of it is going to be very important. There's also this third base, whereas GunGFu hasn't even begun his third Nexus yet. And so far, things are looking fairly similar to what we saw in game number 1. Obviously different builds, but in the mid game, we're in a situation where Harstem's sitting here with just a bit more, around 10-ish more workers than his opponent, which is giving him a nice lead. He's got a third base a lot sooner than his opponent, and he's also sitting with a couple more gas-heavy units, but overall a lot more supply due to considerably more zealots. The one thing that Harstem's falling behind with this game is the Colossus. No, he has no robotics bay. So he's a long way behind, especially when we factor in that GunGFu already has that one Colossus on its way out. But one Colossus isn't super scary, and if Harstem moves across now with these Archons and with a lot of Zealots, he can apply a considerable amount of pressure to the third that he knows has been placed thanks to a proxy pylon. He's also got a warp in location here, and if he forces a cancel, it's going to be a really big problem for GunGFu. And I think he's going to have to cancel it. There's no way this army can get over in time. Cancel force, and Harstem now has bought himself such a long period of this game where he is a base up. Adding in his robotics bay as well, going to be teching up into those Colossi. Nice move now. These two gateways going to be zoning out a lot of this army, running engaging hard, maximizing the utility of that Colossus, but unfortunately taken out very efficiently by Harstem's army. Harstem is now really in no rush. He's taking a bit of damage now from a couple of Blink Stalkers that have come through. Losing 8 workers, but he still killed off 10, so that lead still there at 12 overall for Harstem, who's been obviously on these 3 bases for longer and chrono boosting really well. In we go now. With Harstem just chilling around in the middle of the map. He doesn't really need to engage at the moment, because an engagement for Harstem at the moment is quite risky, because he knows there's Colossi out. Even just 2, probably 3 by the time if he did go, is enough to deal a significant amount of splash damage. But Harstem, he knows he's got a massive economic edge. And if we look at this, this really is very substantial. He's mining, what, 500-ish more minerals per minute and 300-ish more gas. That's not the sort of thing that you really want to be seeing as GunGFu. So the pressure's on GunGFu now. He can't retake that third and catch up in the economic game. It's just not really possible for a long, long time. He's also going to be acutely aware that Harstem will be teching up into those Colossi and getting out his own army, as well as supporting with a lot more units, thanks to that superior economy that he's sitting on. So with all of this, GunGFu knows that he needs to make a play. And that's always annoying, because you can't just sit back. Harstem is like just waiting for his opponent to make a mistake, and the longer the game goes on, it actually gets better for him, because he's got more resources to actually pump into a more sizable army. This worker difference is just monumental, and because of it, we really need to see GunGFu deal some nice damage here. He's got a Colossus advantage and is moving up the ramp now. Engagement coming through. Harstem's still up in army supply. He's got a lot more Zealots tanking up that front row. He's got more Archons, so while there are those Colossi there, for GunGFu, they don't have support. Down one goes. A couple of hallucinated ones buying a bit of time, but this looks like GunGFu's army is going to melt. And with that, with the superior economy, Harstem would have to just throw this game, and GunGFu knows it. GG, Grats, and Fanatics Harstem is going to take map number 2 and a 2-0 victory in this series to advance into WCS EU Challenger League.